Hey everyone. Okay, so one of the first major things to talk about with this chapter is that in the middle of the escape from Allega's compound, we see that Homura doesn't really have full control over power, which in itself begs the question of how much time this version of Homura actually spent training with Valkyrie in this world, and more so, what were the circumstances of her death? Because the fact that Homura can barely manifest her sword in this body tells me Valkyrie was around for even less time in the story in Universe Zero than she was in the world we know, at least to the point where Valkyrie had only begun to teach Homer the basics, the principal basics of the basics of using ether gear, ether gear before she died. And now that our Homura is in this body, you can see she's more than likely obviously regained her memories, but she's struggling to manifest her power again, because of that. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mashima is going to handle this narratively, because I do imagine Homura will regain control of her power before we leave Gilst. The question is when she finally gets control of it. That's going to be like what is it that's going to be the turning point where her power fully and openly reawakens. And it's the whole thing about this chapter right now is it very much heavily dives into the idea that everyone has to kind of go back to the basics of what got them to where they are now. It's just for Homura, it's kind of a bit of an extreme case because again her pretty much powers are more or less on the fritz. So what particular situation is it that's going to finally allow her, what kind of situation and what kind of circumstances are there going to be that are going to help her in order to reawaken her powers and just and allow her to kind of to finally in order to finally I guess take her first step into regaining everything just as Rebecca did. So yeah, if I had to take a guess, it's going to take place from somewhere in the final battle with Drac and Joe. I feel like that's probably going to be at least part of what happens here. Now, and yeah, speaking of going back to basics, Rebecca defeats Daichi with a combination of her overdrive and her pistols, which, yeah, it's a nice way of having your cake and eating it too, because although Rebecca can tap into some manner of power from her overdrive, I like how it still wasn't strong enough to actually defeat Daichi, which is where, much like with Homura, much like with what Homer needs to do, Rebecca had to go back to basics, back to the beginning of how she first started out this adventure, where she didn't have any powers and was just a gun-toting beekeeper. And it's the best use of nostalgia, because forcing these characters back to that point in their lives really allows them to learn and how to grow even stronger than they were before. Now, obviously, though, the other big question is, with the whole thing of Rebecca just openly using Cat Leaper in general in front of Daichi, that whole battle in general is going to make it back to Drac and Joe in some form, some way, and however different Joe may be in this world, if his overall goal of obtaining Rebecca's power hasn't changed, then this is still going to complicate matters quite a bit, because just the fact that Rebecca used her powers now, and it gets back to Joe, and he realizes, so she's got the power of Cat Leaper. It just makes me wonder what's going to be the next step after the fact, because they're going to have to be careful again if they want to protect Rebecca and whatnot. So yeah, I don't know. And honestly, it would be interesting. Honestly, one thing that would be kind of interesting is that with Rebecca having used her power, it would be kind of interesting if maybe we got an early appearance from from her mother, like from Nurse Rachel, like if like I don't know, it just feels like if it just feels like if Dragon Joe's whole goal was to still gain Cat Leaper, I would like to see like some kind of connection now between Rebecca. See him like at least know of some kind of connection between Rebecca and Rachel. Like just play out the fact that he knows something about Cat Leaper more than just the basics of its power kind of thing. Like I'd really like to see that happen. Now, also, before I move on, I really like how Mashima got creative in his use of the comic font in the final panel of Rebecca defeating Daichi. Like it's one of those things that's over the top and hilarious thing you expect from Mashima, but made funnier just by the comic book backdrop of making Rebecca out to be some kind of superhero. Like it's a simple touch, but it really adds to the hilarity of the scene. And yeah, with all that said, let's talk about the hilarity of Ivory's little moment with Kleene and Jinn, where she suddenly comes to the conclusion the best way to get them to remember is to beat the ever-loving shit out of them, and I guess along with that, beat the memories into them. And, which, I'm just gonna say, the hilarious thing is, she's not wrong, especially about the whole benefactor thing. Like, Kleene and Jinn are kind of indebted to her, so what better way to do it than remind them they've got some debts to pay back? And again, a better way to remind them they got debts to pay than beat the memories back into them of, oh yeah, I say, oh yeah, with Kleene saying, oh yeah, she pretty much, with Kleene finally remembering, oh yeah, she pretty much saved me, I've got a debt to pay. And again, the scary thing is how much the idea might actually work. Like, it's so stupid, but because it's through the lens of Ivory's logic, it actually makes so much sense. And if she's having fun bashing their skulls in along the way, then where's the harm in that? I mean, okay, there's a bit of harm she can inflict on those two if she's not careful, but really, what other option does she have? So she may as well go for broke and help them regain their memories the old-fashioned way by beating the ever-loving shit out of them. And again, like, it is absolutely hilarious. I love it. I'm sorry, I really love it. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, analyst Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell, the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight Anime signing off. Later, everyone.